My friends, since I sounded the alarm about YouTube unsubscribing many of you without your permission, you good people have rallied and I've gotten back thousands of subscribers. That said, every day I receive word from viewers that they've been unsubscribed, many for the second or even third time. Please check to make sure you're still subscribed, and if you are not a subscriber, please do subscribe, click the notification bell, and help us in our war to save pop culture. Thank you for listening, and now, on to the video. Greetings, my friends. I am Dicta Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, broadcasting from my hidden base at the center of the Earth, and sometimes the irony is so thick it makes your head spin. Yesterday, we got news out of Lucasfilm that Dave Filoni, following a stellar turn, creating some of the bestest Star Wars ever. And yes, I almost strangled on those words as I spoke them. Following his first season of Ahsoka, Dave Filoni has been promoted to Chief Creative Officer at Lucasfilm.
Chief Creative Officer of Lucasfilm, eh? Does that mean Lucasfilm is going to be creative now?
You saw Ahsoka. What do you think?
We're screwed. Ahsoka was like taking a nap beneath the world's most boring tree, in the world's most boring field of dull grass, being half-heartedly pelted with member berries by Perry Como on Ambien.
Shit, you just can't make this crap up. I mean, if you liked Ahsoka, you probably like this news. But then again, if you liked Ahsoka, you probably need therapy. You need to watch shows like The Expanse, One Piece, X-Files, Battlestar Galactica, Banshee, or original Star Trek to remind you of how good TV shows can be. My God, people, older shows like X-Files or Star Trek wouldn't wait 4 episodes into the series to try to get you hooked. They'd hook your ass in 3 minutes. Set up the conflict of a situation, compel you to watch through the credits and the commercials, and at the end of every act, you'd get another big cliffhanger plot point that would engage your interest enough to make you not change the channel. And that was in the 60s and 90s when people's attention spans weren't crippled down to about 7 seconds thanks to social media. I myself have an excellent attention span, raised as I was in better times when I read books instead of mind-numbing tweets, but even I struggled like Sisyphus pushing a rock up a mountain with a cactus shoved up his ass to get through Ahsoka. It was so badly made, so god-awful boring. I was squirming in my chair and sometimes hitting myself out of frustration, just trying to stay awake. Rolling my eyes as Ahsoka would cross her arms, take a 4-second pause, and then deliver a line as fascinating as a slice of white bread on a paper plate at a church social. I mean, come on, people. My mind is just reeling with, I don't know, a kind of stunned and outraged disbelief that Dave Filoni, after making Ahsoka, is promoted to Chief Creative Officer of Lucasfilm. What the fuck does that even mean? How can Dave be in charge of creativity at Lucasfilm when there is no creativity at Lucasfilm? What's next? Carrie Beck is going to be Chief Unicorn Officer? In charge of the non-existent herds of unicorns that roam the Lucasfilm grounds, farting on all the leprechauns and turning them into smelly little rainbows?
Hey, dude, at least Filoni will be better than Kathleen Kennedy.
Au contraire, Harvey Cthulhu.
I don't know what au contraire means.
It's French for fuck no. Dave himself laid it all out in a well-timed Vanity Fair interview that extinguished all hope for better Star Wars moving forward. They just published an article titled, "Star Wars Undertakes Universe-Shaking Changes After Ahsoka."
Undertakes. That's a good choice of words. Dave Filoni is now the official Star Wars Undertaker. Rest in peace, Star Wars.
You said it, Skull of Calderon. In this article, Dave Filoni pretty much asserts that he's working right alongside Carrie Beck and Kathleen Kennedy, but then again, watching the gynocentric Lilith fest that was Ahsoka, we already knew that, didn't we? Watching Ahsoka was like watching a girls' slumber party with cosplay, space whales, and no popcorn, while Justin Bieber plays in the background, making swinging from a rafter by a rope seem like a sweet release. In their article, Vanity Fair writes, quote, Dave Filoni has a new mission in the Star Wars universe after guiding Rosario Dawson's force-wielding hero to distant celestial realms in the first season of Ahsoka. The writer, producer, director, who started out working alongside George Lucas on the animated Clone Wars show nearly 2 decades ago, has ascended to a new position at Lucasfilm, one that will give him input into all the galactic storytelling going forward. Now I'm what's called Chief Creative Officer of Lucasfilm, Filoni tells Vanity Fair, which places him into the development process much earlier and in a much more expansive capacity than his previous advisory duties. In the past, in a lot of projects I would be brought into, I would see it after it had already developed a good ways.
Disney Plus shows never developed in good ways, only bad ways. Not a good start to your interview, Dave.
He'll stick the landing, Harvey.
Yes, right up our asses. Fortunately, in that regard, I have nothing to worry about, unless he finds it.
This article continues, quote, Filoni will now work more directly with Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy and alongside Carrie Beck, a veteran producer turned head of development to originate and shepherd the new generation of Star Wars shows and movies, unquote.
And verily, there was much jubilation in the kingdom as Star Wars fans took to the streets and danced like in an episode of Cop Rock, happy like little girls. And that last bit was so sarcastic, it tasted like fucking asparagus.
Oh, I could smell it all the way over here, Harvey Cthulhu. Of his new role at Lucasfilm, Dave says, quote, I'm not telling people what to do, Filoni says, but I do feel I'm trying to help them tell the best story that they want to tell. I need to be a help across the galaxy here, like a part of a Jedi Council almost. He described his responsibilities as understanding the intent of the filmmakers and being a resource to them, based on his mentorship under Lucas himself and his years spent steering the Clone Wars, Rebels, and Ahsoka. Literally hours now of Star Wars storytelling I have done, he said, before pausing to rethink his syntax. See, I even phrased that like Yoda, unquote. Yeah, look, here's the deal, Dave. God knows I've been fair and open when it comes to Disney Star Wars. I've been so fair and open, people at times have accused me, the future ruler of Earth, of being a shill. But they also accuse me daily of being a hater, so you can't win, can you? I always knew that Disney Star Wars sucked, but I knew that there were good people behind the scenes trying their best to make good Star Wars under the corrupting influence of Kathleen Kennedy, and I counted Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni among those forces for good. I still believe that Jon Favreau is trying his best, but he's been thwarted and interfered with at every turn. Kennedy evidently hated his success with The Mandalorian, and so she allegedly did shit like work to get Gina Carano fired, thus totally fucking up Jon's plans for Rangers of the New Republic, which would star Gina. Kennedy allegedly worked to get the horrible space Vestas shoved into Book of Boba Fett, driving Favreau insane for a brief period. And that really sucked along and hard. Kennedy helped make sure to completely torpedo Favreau's brilliant plot to have Grogu train with Luke Skywalker. Jon knows what works, and he had set things up brilliantly. Jon Favreau really was well on the road to saving Star Wars, and things never looked brighter than at the end of Mando Season 2. But Kennedy couldn't let that last. And now we come to Dave Filoni. Dave brilliantly conceived a plan years and years ago to use the world between worlds, the Veil of the Force, to erase the hated sequel trilogy and get things back on track. Years ago, I was tipped off from multiple sources that Filoni was going to do this, and the proof is in the pudding. The Veil of the Force was involved in Ahsoka Season 1, but something happened to Dave during those subsequent years. Apparently, he was seduced by the dark side of the KK. He lost his nerve, failed to pull the trigger on the World Between Worlds retcon, and with that one move, all hope for saving Star Wars was dashed because a universe where Luke Skywalker turns out to be a milk-sucking surrender monkey coward is not a universe I can be a fan of. And then, of course, God help me, I saw Ahsoka, which pretty much settled the whole question of whether Dave Filoni was going to be the savior of Star Wars. That series was a dull and very badly written waste of time, full of women I wouldn't want to be stuck in an elevator with, much less a full season of shows. In short, it seems to me that Star Wars is screwed. Now, I am hearing some other opinions, to be fair. My friend Cameron Pashaw, for example, has some interesting things to say about what's going on behind the scenes at Lucasfilm. And to be fair, I'm going to present those views in another video, along with some potentially good news about all of this from a longtime source that could mean there is some hope here. And I'll bring you that view as well, folks. I just need to process and think about the various things I'm hearing from Cameron and my other source. But for right this minute, my knee-jerk reaction, I'm feeling deeply, deeply annoyed and extremely pessimistic about the future of Star Wars. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry.
Ha 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 ha.